I've been saying all along, the G7 countries are the ones that have the most to lose. They're going to be the ones that try to fight it the most. Meanwhile, the other, half of the world that's unbanked is going to be on ramping and using this because they have to use it because they don't have anything else that's actually reliable that's not being debased at 100% a year. And so you're kind of coming to an end game. Are we within a 5 to 7 year time frame of an end game? I think you are. And I think that the harder that they push and the harder that they try to cram a CBDC down somebody's throat, I think the more that the population is going to wake up and realize what's being actually forced upon them. And it's actually going to do the exact opposite of what they think it's going to do. And if they think that they can control the broader population by cramming things down their throat and paying them peanuts and they own no equity and they're in debt up to their eyeballs, I think they've got another thing coming to them.
Well, I think it's always important for the community that is, advocating for Bitcoin to be very aware of the vulnerabilities and the threats. So I want to hear from both of you. What is the biggest threat to Bitcoin that maybe Bitcoiners should focus a little bit more attention and energy on?
Luke, you want me to go first?
Mine will be quicker because like Preston just in the last 30 seconds forgot more about Bitcoin than I'll ever know. So I'll come at it from the generalist Bitcoin idiot, but strong proponent side of the argument. And that is to say, I think the on and off ramp thing, speaking as somebody who likes Bitcoin and who is sort of an idiot about it, but really likes it. But I think about how I buy it, right? I get on Coinbase and I buy it and then I transfer over to Green Wallet out of the exchange because I don't want it on exchange, but I'm still going through those on ramps. Now, would I learn a way around the on and off ramps if they get choked? Yes. Will it take time? Yes. Is it worth it to me? Absolutely. Given what I know and the conviction I have on the fiscal situation and how what this end game is. Will the average person do that? I don't know. And I don't think that stops adoption, but it probably slows adoption. So I think that is one. I wouldn't even call it a risk. I just think it's something to be aware of. I think when you talk about near-term downside risks, I think from my generalist macro perspective, it really comes down to this binary likely outcome of how things can play out. There is no mild recession. We are either going to get off the cliff or we're going to get really high inflation. And if we go through some period of time where it's off the cliff, the risk, I think, in the short run is you get some sort of scenario for Bitcoin like you had back in 2020, right? Which, was scary. It was down, or even, and it might even be softened this time because of what we just went through with sort of this FTX related sell-off, the deleveraging. It was brutal. But that to me is, hey, there is this macro related risk where if policymakers make a mistake, or if they decide it's even a good idea that, to go off the cliff because they think they'll be the last one to hit the ground, then that to me is a risk. It doesn't change my view. I deal with that personally, just in sort of positioning and waiting and maintaining some cash and liquidity. And then I don't really, I don't trade on leverage and I don't worry about it other than that.
Why do you call yourself an idiot when it comes to Bitcoin? I feel like you must be really well read in this topic if you're going to invest in it.
I know, Justin, like, to me, I look at it and I've read enough to see, to me, the attraction is the proof of work and energy connection. To me, the first principle is energy has to be accounted for properly. You have to pay value for energy. And we've been in a system where one party, the US, can print money for energy, the most valuable substance known to man. And that is not a sustainable system to have one party able to print money for energy, issue debt at negative real rates relative to energy. And Bitcoin is a solution to that. And so, like, people who I really respect, Preston, yourself, Lynn, like, they've kind of talked me through sometimes multiple times, here's why, here's why this works, or here's why a 21 million is finite. And all these sort of things that they're just not really my bailiwick. And that's why I refer to myself as an idiot on that stuff. It would be a very short conversation if you said, "Hey, Luke, okay, now describe all that for me." I'd be like, Preston, help. But the energy side, I do understand the interplay of the energy side, the proof of work, how Bitcoin checks a lot of those boxes. I spent a lot of time on gold and energy interplay. And if you understand gold and energy interplay, you start shift it over to just put Bitcoin on it. Like you sort of get it pretty quickly, I should say.
Well, I actually have a gold question coming up, but we got to get you off Coinbase. So Bitcoin only Swan.
True.
Preston, what do you see as the biggest threat to Bitcoin that maybe the community should focus on and put their attention to, or at least be, very aware of?
When I think of the risk, I just think the risk is that the adoption is maybe slower than what people think. I think that you're not stopping this. You're just, whether G7 countries fight it harder than others, or if they just kind of roll over and see it as actually a good that's going to help bring free and open markets back to the world, which I don't think is the base case. I think they're gonna fight it a lot more than they're going to embrace it. So if they fight it, you're going to have these situations like we were describing earlier, where they try to block the on ramps. I don't know that you're going to get a unison response of all the G7 countries and all the major economies. I don't think that they're all going to do that. I think you're already seeing countries like Japan and Korea and many others that are actually pretty pro Bitcoin. And I don't think that they're going to be trying to stop the on ramps because, they haven't necessarily benefited from dollar dominance, and most of the world hasn't. And so I think that as some of the different parts of the world are waking up to this, they're saying, oh, hold on, we're not going to get third or fifth or 10th bite at the apple with the dollar being so dominant. And I think that that's going to be the real incentive of why you don't have everybody fighting it. Another thing that I would just mention as, a risk or something that I'm not real thrilled about. I'm not real thrilled about the NFTs being on layer one and the ordinal stuff. I think that it's a distraction. I think that we don't need a notary service on layer one. I think that it needs to just focus on the money transaction. And if they want to do some of these other things on layer two or whatever other decentralized protocol that's out there, have at it.
Yeah.
I think that, and here's the main reason why. I think it just clogs up layer one. I think that then results in layer two being more expensive. And when I look at the 3 to 4 billion people that are unbanked in the world and them using layer two Lightning for immediate settlement, we really want that to be as affordable as possible. And so I just see it as a major distraction, and it's just kind of meaningless. It is definitely a great way to notarize something. I will say that it's better than any notary you've ever gone to by doing that. But I don't think that is something that is an absolute necessity for humanity based on what I'm seeing in credit markets and the rest of the broader global macro landscape that is in absolute chaos, disarray that needs to be solved.